Okay, as I review this further now, she's giving some examples in here, but they're very vague. Let me find one here and read to you how it is worded. A spokeswoman for the State Public Health Department says there are no confirmed swine flu cases at the school, and no one associated with the school is being tested for the disease. This is the Dana Hall School in Wellesley. I don't know the exact date. Let me read here further. There has been a death from a possible lethal co-infection, a dangerous event suggesting worse is to come. See the case of the death from pneumonia of an oil platform worker who tested positive for multiple strains of the flu. The death of a 28-year-old man in a Little Rock hospital over the weekend, I don't know what weekend this is, could be linked to the H1N1 virus, better known as swine flu. That's according to Pulaski County Coroner Garland Camper, who tells KARK-4 that the man's autopsy revealed he had suffered from more than one strain of flu. Coroner Camper calls that somewhat unusual. Camper says the man was an offshore oil worker who had been in the hospital with flu-like symptoms and had been reportedly ill for weeks. Continuing on here. Predictive symptoms are based on the following data. Fever, 97%. Cough, 77%. Lung infiltrates, 60%. Vomiting, 46%. Shortness of breath, 43%. Lung infiltrates and vomiting are unusual for influenza. The first case was seen in Mexico on April 13th. The outbreak coincided with President Barack Obama's trip to Mexico City on April 16th. Obama was received at Mexico's Anthropology Museum in Mexico City by Felipe Solis, a distinguished archaeologist who died the following day from symptoms similar to flu. Reforma newspaper reported. The newspaper didn't confirm if Solis had swine flu or not. See, these are vague. Alexander S. Jones, former employee to the National Institutes of Health, has analyzed the genome sequence of the virus and concluded we must seriously consider a laboratory origin for this virus. Moving on to her next portion of the outline. Evidence that the swine flu virus and vaccines are components of a covert bioweapons system. The swine flu contains avian, human, and swine genes, a triple reassortment. This is extraordinarily rare in nature. The swine flu is 4 to 8% nearest match in terms of genetic material from its closest genetic relatives. Thus, there is no remotely close match in the public National Institutes of Health databases. This indicates lab origin. And see, this is important because how did these people get this? Was it really unleashed? Or are they saying these people might have had this strain of flu? Or are they just using the fact that these people contracted some sort of respiratory illness or flu-like symptoms, and then they are calling it this? Continuing on, Dr. Henry Taubenberger at U.S. Army Institute of Molecular Pathology has used APAC funding to dig up the graves of deceased individuals who died of the H1N1 flu in 1918 and has reconstructed the genome using advanced laboratory techniques. The only purpose for such an action is for weaponization, the creation of a new, more deadly flu virus. Virologist Adrian Gibbs, renowned scientist and inventor of Tamiflu, has gone on record stating that various metrics, nucleic acid ratios, as well as genetic history indicates that this virus has passed through eggs. This indicates artificial laboratory cell culture origin, which is not natural. Former National Institute of Health employee Alexander S. Jones has done a genetic analysis using data from Andrew Rambout at University of Edinburgh, which indicates this flu is mutating approximately 2.3 times as fast as any existing swine or human flu. Taken together, I believe this constitutes proof of laboratory origin. I agree. As I read the vague reports of the actual incidents, coupled with this data that she includes here in her charges, and this is something that we've known for months now, that this was laboratory origin. Details. Biological weapons classification. The bird flu has been classified by the United States government in its own export regulations as a biological weapon, and there are grounds for believing the swine flu likewise is a bioengineered virus and a component of a biological weapons system as defined by Section 175A of BOTA, designed, like the bird flu, to deliver toxins and microorganisms so as to deliberately inflict disease on, she must mean disease and death on people while being disguised as injections for prophylactic. Let me read that again. Designed, like the bird flu, to deliver toxins and microorganisms so as to deliberately inflict disease and death on people, while being disguised as injections for prophylactic, protective, or other peaceful purposes. Commerce Department regulations supplement listing pathogens whose vaccines are subject to export restrictions for countries classified as sponsors of terrorism. And then she includes a PDF file here. The United States bars the export of vaccines for the bird flu, smallpox, yellow fever, and many other pathogens to 5 countries classified as sponsors of terrorism. Under Department of Commerce rules, a long list of vaccines for viruses, bacteria, and biological toxins cannot be exported to Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Sudan, and Syria unless they obtain special export license, which can take weeks. The list of pathogens subject to the rules includes viruses that cause dengue fever, Ebola fever, Marburg fever, Rift Valley fever, and monkeypox. A list of animal pathogens covered by the restrictions includes highly pathogenic bird flu viruses. Bacterial pathogens on the restricted list include anthrax and the microbes that cause tularemia and plague. Not on the list are the causes of the common vaccine-preventable diseases such as measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, and seasonal influenza. She continues to write some web pages here and mentions that the reason that the United States bars the exports of these vaccines is because of fear that they will be used for biological warfare. So the United States government views vaccines as a tool of biological warfare, giving indirect confirmation to the fears of the Indonesian health minister.